coming quickly, and there's more light outside, which is nice. It's been a great winter. We don't take these things for granted anymore. It felt like a throwback in a lot of ways. We still have snow on the ground most of the winter we did. I mean, we can't forget that out west, it was one of the worst winters, and globally, it was one of the warmest winters on record as well, if not the warmest. So we got lucky here in our little neck of the woods. But I think that's just important to keep in mind, not to be a downer, but just to keep that in mind. So Don, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Just checking some folks off here. Dylan's here. Where's Dylan? Betsy's here. Steve.
While Don's doing that, I'll just say we have the first item is just the, and we'll do the minutes in a minute, but we're still waiting on nominations. Looks like from Hudson, Claremont, Gallatin, Kinderhook Village, Kinderhook, and Hillsdale. But many of these folks are already on the task force and continue to participate. But nonetheless, if you could prod your supervisor or your town board to get their act together, really. No, I'm just kidding. To just please put the nomination in, that would be great. Don, are you all set?
Yeah, I would just add that Sean Casey from Kinderhook has been he's been nominated, and they will approve him at this March meeting. And I did talk to Lisa Bouchard Ho from Hillsdale, and she said that their town board has approved, but they just have to send in or will approve her shortly. But so they are both on the way. But the other folks, Alexandra, Sam Simchenko, you're on here. Yes, we just need something.
They've sent it through. I don't know what the status is.
Yeah, so yeah, somebody has to just send it to Patrice so we have a record that it was done. Even if it's you, if you have minutes of the meeting where you were approved, just, you know, if Jennifer.
Yeah, they finally approved it at that last Monday's meeting, and I guess Ray just hasn't sent anything yet. So you're saying meeting minutes would do it. I can forward.
Yes, I think so. As long as Patrice has something that says yes.
Yeah.
The board
Okay.
Approved you.
I'll see what I
have to do it.
That's what worked for me, Don. Didn't I give you minutes?
Yes. Yeah, we got you here, Matt.
And they said it was okay, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Matt Stinchcom, I don't think he is on here, and Chris Von Mosner. I think he has a note taker here, but I don't know if he's actually on the call or not. But yeah, we need someone from those folks.
Okay, I'll reach out to Matt.
Yep.
No problem. Okay, great. Minutes. Any comments on last month's minutes? If not, we need to approve them. We'll take motions to do that. Any comments first? Edits.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Thanks, Steve. And a second. Anyone?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All right. Anyone opposed? Please speak up. Great. The minutes are approved. So we have a guest. Don, do you want to introduce Neil?
Yes, Neil Betez here from the Hudson Valley Estuary Program. I think, Neil, you should probably introduce yourself, because we've met it once before at a conference, but we haven't really talked very much. So I'm interested in what you have to say and how you might be able to help us out here.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. So hello, everyone. I'm the Climate Resilience Team Coordinator for the Hudson River Estuary Program. If you're familiar with the program, our job is to revitalize, restore the Hudson River from Albany down to New York City. And my focus is on helping municipalities adapt to the effects of climate change. And so my background is I worked as an environmental scientist focused on urban ecology It includes, you know, looking at the effects of climate change in urban ecosystems. I've also worked as town supervisor in the town of New Paltz for 8 years. And so now my job is to bring all of my background together and work with municipalities and help them adapt to the effects of climate change, like heat, flooding, things like that. And so I am aware of, it's nice to meet you. Hopefully we can work together going forward. So I'm here because I want to make the connection with you. I started about 1.5 years ago, and I'm aware of the 18 climate adaptation plans, the CARPs, that were done in Columbia by Cornell Cooperative Extension, Columbia Green.
Mhm.
And you know, they're important for identifying the risks. Adopting them by the municipality is very important as well, because you know that makes them more likely to be implemented. And I was just wondering if you know how many have been adopted by the municipalities, and if they have not been, is there any way I can help get them adopted? I'm happy to reach out, work with municipalities, because it's important to get those officially adopted so we can start implementing the actions. And then, I mean, I kind of looked through all of your different plans for the 18 that were done, and a lot of the recommendations are things that we do in the estuary program. Like people made recommendations like, you know, do buffer restoration or culvert assessments or natural resource inventories. And so those are actions that we do in the estuary program that we can also potentially help with. So I just want to make that connection and let you know that we're here to help you. So thank you for inviting me to this, and I can come to future meetings as well.
Thank you, Neil. That's great, and that's great to remind everyone of the resources that are available to implement some of these actions. It's one thing to put them on paper, but getting them implemented is really what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and the other thing, like I've been talking about I was not involved in the Columbia Green, the adaptation plans, but I think that's going to be a model for how the rest of the state really needs to take these actions. What was done there, you know, the collaborative approach across many municipalities all working at the same time, I think you're much more likely to have very good results from that. And so I'd be interested in, you know, if you were involved, how did it go? Any changes we can make going forward? And do you think it was worth it? So thanks.
I mean, Don probably has better insight into how it was done, but you know, and other folks on the calls in their towns. But I mean, Cornell Cooperative did, you know, the lion's share of it. They did all the work. Then they were reviewed, you know, by the towns and by the county. Don, do you have anything to add on the process?
I don't know, have any information on how many towns have actually adopted the CARPs. I know Columbia County has not adopted it yet, but I will bring it to their attention, because I think one of the reasons is it wasn't really clear in the CSC action whether or not we had to actually officially adopt it or not. But I will follow through with that with some folks and see.
Yeah, I don't know if you need to,
Yeah.
but you will. I know if you're applying for climate smart grants,
Yeah.
if it's if the plan's adopted, you will get more points because
Yeah.
you can point to an adopted plan. It's also, you know, more likely, you know, as there's turnover on with elected officials and volunteers on committees, it's nice to have a plan that was officially adopted that you can point to.
Yeah.
Because it's not just something that someone's promoting. It's like, well, this was reviewed and adopted. So it's more likely for these actions to be implemented. You know, it's also, you know, as a former elected official, you know, no matter what you do, you're going to get criticized for, even if it's beneficial. People are going to be like, well, this is the first I'm hearing of this, right? But if you can, you know, point to it like, well, this was a plan that there was a lot of community outreach and it was adopted, that does provide some justification for why you may be implementing those actions. It's not just something that someone made up. You know, this is an official plan. So it's always good to adopt it so it doesn't just go and sit on a shelf somewhere.
Did folks in their towns, were they adopted? I have to check with Ghent. I don't recall whether it was. I don't think we all made a big push to encourage that. I don't remember that at least. But do folks have experiences in their towns where these plans were put forward for adoption?
Brenda's not on here right now, I don't think, but I think Canaan did adopt theirs, and I think they have followed through with some of the projects that were outlined in it. I have heard from her that it has helped them down to Canaan.
Yeah. Anyone else?
There was a presentation in Stuyvesant, and I think it might have been adopted, but I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look at the minutes.
Yeah, I have to do the same
I have
again.
in my
John?
notes that Copac did adopt it, but I gotta double check that because that was back
Yeah.
from summer.
John?
Yeah, we did present it and it was adopted and it's on a shelf. But every so often, we have a lot of things on the shelf. Every so often something comes off the shelf and gets acted on. Like now Kipley wants to do the entire implementation of the garage or energy efficiency study using, with Centrica, which the county used. I was just telling Don about it. Anyway, so the shelf is, once you get it on the shelf, it's okay if it's approved, I think.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, Neil's point is that it can help with funding and turnover issues where people maybe don't have the institutional memory of when and why it was discussed in the first place, but then it's there, it's been adopted. So that's a good
So
point.
when you bring up an action that you think should be implemented or started, say a year from now, and you're talking to the elected officials, you're not just bringing up something that you want to do, you're bringing up something that they adopted
Right.
and they accepted in a plan. So it should be easier to sell it to them. And it isn't just some, I think it's also really important to point out to the elected officials that this isn't, some of these actions aren't just actions that you want to do for points or because you're passionate about it. It's an action that is based on an assessment of their needs and the vulnerability. That there are actual reasons to do these actions, not just because you want points, but because you did the assessment and it showed that these actions need to be done. So it's harder for them to just ignore you and be like, well, we don't have time or the money or anything else. It's like, well, but the assessment said you needed to do these things, and you said you were going to do these actions within years, 1 to 3, 3 to 5. Where are we with that? And it's always good to maybe as they're putting their budgets together in September and October and November, kind of review what were put in these plans and be like, oh, you do know that over the next year in your plan you said you were going to do these actions.
Mhm.
Are you gonna, start them? So but I'm happy to help you with any of those as well going forward.
Great. I think everyone should just, if they're not aware of what's happened in the town, check in and try to figure out what the status is of these plans in your town. I'm going to do that again. Jennifer.
We're having a sort of the other end of the spectrum on this, a problem arising in Claremont that we just got awarded a small grant to use CEEP, can't remember what the acronym stands for. CEEP. They're a not-for-profit that helps towns with their climate smart processes. Because we've done stuff, but we're way behind. We haven't submitted anything, and we even finished our greenhouse gas inventory, but it's never been submitted. So they're going to help us kind of get up to speed, but also part of the contract is to help us develop a climate action plan. And when we presented this to the town board last Monday and told them, we have a grant to do this, isn't this wonderful? But the town needs to kind of okay it and, be willing to receive the money and then pay it back out. And they're putting up a fight because I think they don't want to, they're worried that they're going to end up committing to things that they don't want to do. So it's funny because I think they're just worried about, they don't want to have a plan on the shelf because it does, sort of what Neil is saying, that it helps commit them to actually following through if they've accepted a plan and they're worried that they're going to be in a position where they're going to have to do things they don't want to do.
And that's for a climate action plan, right?
Yes.
So versus a climate adaptation plan, right? So
Oh.
the action plans.
Okay, I wasn't making the distinction.
Yeah, I know it gets very confusing. So I just want to make sure that, you know, if there's a difference. So the action plans are really focused on mitigation, so reducing greenhouse gases, and that's really important. But these adaptation plans are a lot of the focus is on making sure that the infrastructure is resilient and the flooding problems are addressed. And so it's harder for municipalities to say, oh no, we don't have the time or the money to do that adaptation plan actions, because you're familiar, we're a home rule state, right? And so as a home rule state, you know, local laws, zoning, everything else is done at the local level, and it has to be done at the local level. And that includes a lot of these adaptation actions. So, you know, if your highway department's going to do any work, or if they're going to pass a local, you know, law or zoning, they have to do it. And so they can't ignore some of these adaptation actions, because if they ignore them, they just won't get done, and the municipality is going to suffer. And so that's why, you know, we're really promoting these and focusing on these. And so, you know, I don't know if your municipality did an adaptation plan. Not all the municipalities did, but if they did an adaptation plan, so, you know, maybe they want to, if you know, in the adaptation plan, if one of the recommendations is to do an action plan, then it's more likely to happen as well. You know, that's one of the nice things about having these plans. It's hard for them to just ignore you later on when you bring up another subject. It's like, well, it's in the plans. Yeah, we didn't make this up. So, and I've talked enough. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I just want to make sure you know I'm here to help you.
Thank you. We have a couple people waiting to comment, but one thing that just quickly, I'll just add in there, I know Brenda has brought up a bunch of times, is a large proportion of the hazard mitigation plans that have been approved and used for years before smart climate CARP plans, a large proportion of those plans contain information directly related to climate risk, and the adaptation and resilience steps that are in the CARP are also found, similar ones found in these hazard mitigation plans, because the risks are there. And I think
and they're very similar.
Characterizing these plans as complementary to hazard mitigation and as a way of protecting us in the future, making us more resilient, and less about solving climate change, may help to alleviate some of the concerns that might come up at the town level by people that are thinking that this is a kind of a big climate agenda. It's really, it's nuts and bolts. It's infrastructure, like Neil's saying, and it's making the places resilient to flooding and temperature fluctuations and other things we've seen. Okay, I don't know who is, I think
just
Alex,
one more thing I just want to add in real quick. So the hazard, it's very important to bring up that these are very related to the hazard mitigation plans, which they've all bought into as elected officials, and they have to take those. And they'll often say, well, how are they different? And I think the important thing to point out is that the adaptation plans, a big part of them is community engagement. So you're more likely to get suggestions that are actually recommended and needed by the community versus some consultant that just recommended something, which is going to really help you with community buy-in when it's time to implement those actions, and to make sure, and those actions are much more likely to have a positive impact on the people that are going to be disproportionately affected. They might be seniors who don't have, you know, a way to evacuate, or maybe they're people that work outside for a living that actually need more protection. So just, I can help you if you ever want to present to your elected officials. I can help you with all of this sort of information.
That's great. Thank you, Neil. Alexandra.
Yes, hi. I just wanted to quickly note that I'm not aware of whether or not Hudson has formally adopted the CARP, but I can tell you vis-a-vis community engagement, we're working with SUNY of Syracuse right now on a project that is going to be evaluating people's response, don't give disadvantaged communities the ability to comment on whether they're aware of our plans for what to do in case of disaster or whatever. And they're going to be mapping the areas and see who knows what about past flooding, past bad events. And so we're working on that as we speak. So anyhow, I will confirm for you whether or not they were formally adopted. But on the other end, community engagement, we're all over that. And it's going to be taking place this year with Michael Mikilowicz at Syracuse SUNY. So
Great. Thank you. Steve.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up with the hazard mitigation plan because there was overlap with the CARP project, and the difference I think with the hazard mitigation plan is that they asked for specific, we had to put down at least minimum 2 specific actions that towns were going to take. And, I think we put in at least 5. And the expectation is that, or I guess the requirement, maybe in the next 5 years, they have to be taken care of. So that's it.
Right. And I remember, the CARP is written in a way which is much more advisory. And so even adopting it doesn't compel, they have to, approve for further actions. The more prescriptive it is, perhaps the more effective, but the harder it is to get approved. Neil, one more question for you, which is, are there recommendations? We don't have to go into the great detail now, but maybe as a follow-up, recommendations on how we all should be thinking about prioritizing specific actions that have kind of risen to the top of urgency across the region. And also, can you tell us a little bit more about what the funding mechanism really is and how these towns can apply for funding from the estuary program?
So, there is the estuary program, but also, are you familiar with the Bond Act?
Yes.
So, the Bond Act, I think that was 2022, approved by the voters. I have some notes here, but I think it was, $4 billion or something like that. That is focused on a lot of the actions that are in recommendations that are in these adaptation plans. And so, if you look at, you could look at your adaptation plan, but then you can also go to what's called the Bond Act Funding Finder. And that is a new, I can put a link in the chat if that helps, but that will also really help you. It's a much easier way to find grants that not only are open now, but were open in the past that might be related to actions that are recommended. And you can then often look at the previous, what they call a request for applications, the RFA, and you can go through and see like, or there's links to projects that were previously funded. It's all on this one webpage. And so it helps you like, they got funding for this type of project where we said we would do this type of project. They're not due now. It's really hard, like when you go to the municipality and be like, you should apply for this grant. It's due in a month. Like that is going to be really hard to do. But if like, last year the requests were due in August, and if you approach the town board or the village board in September saying, last year these grants were due in June or July, are you putting this in as part of your annual budget to maybe pay for a grant writer or to at least allocate some matching funds, and like that Bond Act, I think, a quarter to almost half of it has already been allocated. So it's really important for municipalities to start taking advantage of this money before it disappears. And so,
Neil, do you know, what is the match on these? Is it like 80-20 or?
It varies by different grants. I mean, there are some grants that have zero match, right? And, but it depends on the different grants. Some have 20%, some have 50%. So it varies across all the different types.
Okay, thanks.
Neil, this is super helpful. Sorry, go ahead.
For some of these actions, I mean, people are like, we still have to come up with a 20% match. These aren't, some of these actions that are recommended are things that the municipality acknowledges need to be done, like
Right.
some of the flooding issues. And so, yes, you have to come up with a 20% match, but if you don't get the grant, you got to come up with 100%.
Yeah. That's a good argument and a lot of good information here, Neil. I'm really happy that you joined us. And I think, that I just posted the Bond Act funding finder in the chat. And I think, that might broaden people's horizons in terms of what is available out there. So this is super helpful. And thank you for your offer to assist at the town level, at the county level, and let's stay in touch. And please think about Neil as a resource, folks. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me, and it's nice to make the connections with you, and hopefully we can work together going forward.
Yep, we look forward to seeing you again. Thanks, Neil. All righty, that's great. A lot of good information there. I'm gonna check back with Gent and check in on what's happening with our plan. And I recommend that we all do that if you're not kind of checked in on that. So that was helpful. Now switching gears from an adaptation to mitigation. Don, tell us where we're at with the funding for the CAP. There it is.
Contract here, 3 copies. They have been signed by the chairman. I have to follow through, make sure that they have actually digitally signed them in the state funding portal. But the contract is done. Okay, we have it finally. After I don't want to count up the months, 9, 10, 11 months, however long it took to get that done. The next step is we will hear back from DEC. It still has to go back to them, and they will eventually set up a time where they can come in and meet with the CAP committee and start looking at the RFP. Now, I was told, after our last meeting, I went down and I talked to Marissa, who was the person in charge of getting these RFPs out, and she told me that she was not surprised with how long it took to get this contract done, and also, unfortunately, to not be surprised if it's a similar situation when it comes to the RFP review by DEC.
You mean another year?
Well, I don't think it'll be another year, but it may take a while. Okay. I don't know. I mean, we've done a pretty good job of getting it in shape and ready, and I've tried to follow DEC's specifications. We're filling up, making sure everything is in there that I think they are going to want to see. So really, who knows? So I know one of the things I've been asked to do is to try to come up with a timeline of when these things will happen. I honestly, it's just not possible to find.
Yeah.
We've learned that over the last few months, Dave, but we have made progress. That part is behind us.
Good job on that.
We're going to move forward with it. Yes.
It's the step forward. And I mean, it's not as if this is an urgent matter or anything, right?
No, but
just joking. Yeah, I mean, we'll do what
a year out of my life that
the wheels of the bureaucracy turn slowly, and once we have a lay of the land, maybe we can prod them a bit. Thanks for all the work on that, Don. Terrence.
Actually, I was just about to say, Dave, if there was any urgency, it may help. It might not, but it may help if there's somebody from the county that can reach out to DEC to communicate that. I think from our experience, we have always been frustrated with the lag, but when there's been something kind of like on our end, a funding issue that's really is urgent, being a squeaky wheel can get some reaction. So if there is somebody from the county, and if there is something to point to say, like, we really need to kind of make sure this stays on track, it sometimes helps.
Yeah, and I was obviously being sarcastic.
Yeah. I know you were. Yes.
But, you know, the broad, I mean, any funding in that program, anyone can make that argument that it's urgent, it's climate change. But so that probably won't work. I think what you're saying is if there's maybe our match or our funding would lapse and we have a deadline. Our funding, I think, is, I mean, Don, correct me if I'm wrong, the amount that the county has allocated toward this, what's the timing on that? Does it roll forward? I know that this grant
Yeah,
is
I mean,
supposed to be 5 years.
Yeah, I don't know how they track it through the system, but it's been approved by the board. So
Yeah.
we have the match in hand. It's just a matter of the county controller tracking it, you know, and I think it's in the controller's hand now to just make sure that line item gets used at some point.
Yeah, one question I think for maybe Denal or Brenda, or if you want to ask the controller, Don, is what is that when something is approved, this was approved for this year, this current budget year, what does it expire? You know, does funding expire, and when does it expire? If it does, that might be useful information. You're right, it may just roll forward in perpetuity. But
I don't think it expires, Dave, but I think it's just up to the controller to make sure that it rolls forward every year. It doesn't have to be reapproved. The board has already.
So it would roll forward to 2027,
Yeah.
2028. Okay. So I don't know if there are other points of leverage that we could try to use to create urgency, but other than just being a squeaky wheel, but we should continue to try to do that, obviously. Steve.
I was just going to comment that the governor, you probably heard, has asked for ways you can reduce bureaucracy in the state government. So Don, this is a perfect opportunity to write in and tell them.
Mm-hmm.
So I've sent in a suggestion already, so not about that, but other ways.
Yeah, well, we can all send that in from our experience here. That's a good one, for sure. Okay, thanks, Don. Very helpful. Moving along to Earth Day. Terrence, do you want to start with the Crandall and the film series we're talking about?
Yeah. So as a reminder for anybody who hasn't heard it in a while, as part of our Earth Day activities, we've been looking to host a documentary screening at the Crandall Theater in Chatham. And the kind of center documentary that we'd be focused on is I think it's biodiversity in the Hudson Valley that was released recently. And Laura Heedy from the Estuary program has agreed to attend. She's part of the documentary, and she would be there as a panelist on a question and answer. We've also had a short list of shorter documentaries. So the idea is that the event itself would have tables in front of the Crandall, in the lobby of the Crandall. Then we would show 2 short documentaries, 1 or 2 short documentaries, followed by this 30-minute documentary, and then a Q&A. Altogether about 2.5 hours of an event. Simultaneously, CLC is hoping to have an open house across the street at our office, so we'd have staff there to talk to anyone coming through, and the idea is people can be there, they can walk across the street to the Earth Day screening. We reached out to the Crandall towards the end of last calendar year, and initially we were looking at April 26th, which is a Sunday, to host the event, but they had to wait until we got closer to the event to schedule that. Now it seems like April 18th, which is the Sunday before, would be is actually like the preferable. I guess they're not available on the 26th is what it comes down to. So they're asking if April 19th, Sunday, April 19th would work for us. I've reached out to Laura Heedy. She's said that works for her schedule, so she can be there that day. CLC can make sure that our schedule lines up with that day. And I wanted to bring it to this group to see if we thought that worked on our end. If it did, I can go ahead and confirm that with the Crandall this afternoon.
Wow, that's great. What do people think about the 19th? I remember there were some conflicts. Spencertown, there were some other concurrent similar activities. Matthew?
That's what's funny. You mentioned this. I think it's a great idea. We were discussing this last night. We're having some Earth Day events on the 26th, and we were worried it was going to conflict with the Crandall. So obviously this is, we like that it's the weekend before. So that's, I think we have to go, whatever the Crandall wants, the Crandall will get. You can't really, right? So,
Yeah.
but I'd love to be able to participate in both. So it sounds good. Would the Earth Day events then be on the same day, the 18th?
The like tree planting
and the open house at the CLC and all that. Terrence,
we would plan to make sure the open house happens at the same time. I think the tree plantings might be more kind of scheduled around individual municipalities. I think on the 18th, somebody asked, would Saturday the 18th work? I know for CLC, we already have 2 other events that day. And so that might be a conflict for us, but if that works better for this group, I can go back to the Crandall and see if that works for them and Laura.
What's the conflict on the 19th? I don't know who raised that. Christina, right?
I have to host a baby shower that day, and I'd love to participate in this, but someone else from the Clean Energy Hub to table.
Yep, I understand. Okay, we've got a Kara.
Yeah, just remind me again, Terrence, what time are we thinking about this on the 19th?
I believe we're looking at I think 2:00 in the afternoon. Let me go back to my notes.
Yeah, because Copac is doing a movie, that insect movie I shared around, that we're doing that Saturday, the 18th.
Oh, good.
At the Grange, and it's actually going to be at 7:00, which I'm nervous about the timing of that. So I'm imploring all of you to get people to show up for it because we're worried that like a Saturday night movie about bugs, that the timing of that may not be the most appealing, but we are going to try to lure people in with, food and refreshments, and we're going to have a local beekeeper give a conversation. So if that's at 7:00, on Saturday, so I would like to be able to keep that date and then if I had to like throw out my personal preference, but whatever you guys want to do, we're set now with that date for our event.
Terrence, that's great, Kara. Terrence, question, and I don't know how everyone feels about it, but when I think about mid to late April Sunday, I think about trying to be outside and doing work outside, and a lot of people, especially folks that are kind of doing all that work themselves, on a weekend, that's a key moment. Who knows what the weather will be, but did we choose 2 for a specific reason? I would suggest something later. I don't know if that gels with what other people are thinking.
We could reach out to the Crandall. That came from them. I think typically when they have community events like this, they place them during the day, and they save the evenings for their main showings. I know that's the issue with the 26th, is they expect to have something kind of that they're showing that doesn't allow them to show anything else during that time. Like while it's
we probably need like a 1.5 to 2 hour block. Is that, and they need time to like clear and clean and all that, right?
That's right. I think we can have the space up. Actually, I think I take it back. I think it's 1:00 is what we were thinking, because I think they need the space back about 3:15.
Oh, okay. Well, it is what it is. Like Matthew said, beggars can't be choosers. So we appreciate whatever they can do for us. Don?
Yeah, I was just going to mention that from my memory from last month and some of the emails I've got, I think most of the Earth Day events from towns are on the 18th. So I haven't heard anything on the 19th yet.
That's good. Deborah? Hi, Deborah.
Hi, I was just going to echo that. Austerlitz, Chatham, I think Ghent, Canaan, I don't know, Philmont, we're all doing an event on the 18th in Austerlitz. So I think it would be better to keep it on the 19th.
Okay. 19th sounds good. I don't hear any objections. I'm sorry, Christina. But I don't hear any major objections. So let's see. Terrence, please let us know if that'll work. And lock it in, and then we'll have to decide on the other 2 shorter films. So perhaps we want to schedule a gathering of a smaller group again, just to kind of think through the day a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's great. Once I have that confirmed, which I hope to do today, then we can circle up, and it would make sense to, yeah, figure out the other documentaries, panelists for the Q&A, and we'll schedule a planning call with whoever would be part of that beforehand as well, just to run through it.
Great.
And then
So
Christine, if you have a baby shower at the event, we can set up a table.
So once we hear back, we'll put something together for our small group. If anyone else, just let me know if you want to be part of that. Anyone's
Great.
always welcome to join these smaller groups, encouraged. But otherwise, we'll just go back to the group that was meeting previously, and then we'll be able to bring something back more complete to the task force in April. Thanks, Terrence. That's great progress. Tree planting. So Dylan, are you on?
Yes. Good morning.
Hi, Dylan. I'm skipping ahead, kind of, sort of, but it's all related. So I figured we should just kind of combine maybe your update with this aspect. Do you have an update for us on the very generous Soil and Water Conservation District offer of trees and the application process and how that's all going?
Yeah, we've gotten interest. The deadline for the applications to be submitted is March 10th. I'm confident that there's more applications coming. To date, we've received 9 different municipalities: Volusia, Taconic, Philmont, Hillsdale, Ghent, Germantown, Claremont, Canaan, and Austerlitz have submitted applications. Again, this is one native ball and burlap tree funded and delivered to a municipality hosting around the date of Earth Day tree planting community event.
Great.
I'm going to send out another reminder today.
Is Don, you're muted, Don. Go ahead.
Stockport will be sending one in, Dylan. So, yeah.
Great, 11. So if you didn't hear your town's name there, you got 5 days to try to get something submitted. It's a simple application.
Yeah, Copic is doing one too. I'm just waiting to get someone to sign it.
Great.
Thank you.
New Lebanon as well. We're fighting over which tree to get.
Good fight to have.
And
12.
Stuyvesant too.
That's 14, I think. This is good. I feel like we're at an auction here. This is great. It's just going up and up. Don?
And if you know the date, send it. I have it, a little space posted on our homepage on our website. So if you have a date pick, even if you don't have a date pick, I can plug it in after, but let me know and I'll add your town to the list and
nice.
Try to promote it.
And Don, I can on the 10th, I'll, export all they list the date of their Earth Day planting on the application. So
Okay.
I'll export all that data into an Excel sheet and can share it with you.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, in fact, that's why you don't have the application from Stuyvesant. We were waiting to find out when the film was going to be scheduled so that we could do the tree planting at a different time.
Nice.
Totally fair.
Good.
No, plenty of time left.
Jennifer.
I know that when you presented to us before, Dylan, you said that there were so few applicants last year that a bunch of towns got more than one tree. And I wonder if there's any chance that there will be more than one for any communities this year too.
The easy answer is no, because of all the coordination that might take. So we're asking municipalities to like do some preparation for multiple trees. And I think, we do have separate funding for a utility trailer that's going to help us engage in these kinds of municipal funding opportunities. We need to get the trees to the municipalities. And if there's any money left over, we'd like to put that toward the trailer and maybe upgrade to a slightly better utility trailer for this.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I just will add that I was going to announce this, that we may have, Arthur's Point Farm our nursery may have extra trees. And if we do, this will be at the end of March that we'll know when our sales are all over and closed. We'd like to make them available to towns around the county. These would be bare root trees. They're a bunch of native species as well as some non-native kind of agroforestry fruit and nut species that might be nice in and around the town, like grafted apples, chestnuts, hybrid hazelnuts, which are all edible, mulberry as well. And then there's some native nuts and fruits like persimmon, walnuts, and then there's some not typically edible, like honey locust and hickories and oaks. So we may have a list. I can provide, what I'd like to do if people are interested is just provide a list of the species that and these are anywhere from kind of 18-inch to 5-foot tall bare roots. So they're much easier to plant than the balled and burlap. They can be dug by hand very easily and added to a planting, where the balled and burlap can be kind of the centerpiece, a bigger tree. These can kind of be added around. So what I'll do is I'll send a list of the species that we may have. And if you're interested, your town is interested, just let me know what the quantities are that you'd be looking for and the species among the list. And we'll try to accommodate each request based on what we have. Our last sale of bare roots is March 28th, I think. So we'll be able to tell you with certainty right after that. So right at the end of March, we have these trees available, and we'll package them up and we'll keep them in cold storage till you need them. So I just wanted to make that announcement. No guarantee, but I think we'll certainly have some trees extras, maybe not exactly what you want. So let me know. Kara.
Just a quick question on what are you all with the timing of the planting of the trees? Is everybody trying to do it on the Saturday and Sunday before or after Earth Day because they want to have an event surrounding it, or because that's what? Okay, all right. I'm trying to figure
the idea
this out.
is to try to get this is a community action, get people out there, and also just let people know that there are things happening on Earth Day that are meaningful. I think we should try to get some publicity around this.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good local TV story. Come out and show people planting trees on Earth Day. And I think because we are coordinated, we can kind of have a similar message that we can transmit. We can also put a press release out potentially. And I think we could do that as a town. We can talk about doing that as a task force. I think we should, at least highlighting all these. By then, by beginning of April, we'll know which towns are getting trees from Soil and Water, and we'll know what other tree planting activities are happening pretty much, so we could try to publicize them more and also get the message out that we've been talking about, which is it's the 250th anniversary of the nation, and there's nothing really more patriotic than planting a tree and paying it forward for future generations. And I think that really resonates with all of us, and I think with a lot of other people. So I'd like to continue working on that as well for the next meeting. Neil.
I just wanted to make maybe highlight that people have a lot of climate anxiety, especially kids, and taking actions like this, especially planting trees, helps them with their anxiety. Because so just something to talk about.
That's why I plant trees, Neil. It helps me with my anxiety. It's true, Catherine.
Oh, we're going to do it the tree planting the Sunday after Earth Day, Kara.
Okay.
It's partly because it's going to be a little bit warmer, and it's also when I can get the labor to do this. We're kind of a town, we don't have that many people. So.
Thank you. Thanks, Kathy.
Yeah, Karen, some of the applications, some folks are doing it on Earth Day during the week.
Yeah, that's what I was
wondering. The weekend
wondering.
before even.
Yeah, I just thought that middle of the week might be bad because a lot of people might not be able to attend it. So cool. Thank you.
Christina.
I have to jump at 11, so I just wanted to say if anyone who's doing one of your individual Earth Day events does want Clean Energy Hub, if there's like a tabling opportunity or something like that, we are coming to Austerlitz. So if there's anything else, just reach out and we'd be happy to send somebody, if not myself. Thank you.
Great, thank you. After this, we'll jump ahead to your update, Christina, to try to get you in before 11. Any other thoughts on trees, Earth Day? All right. This is good stuff. Keep it up. I'll follow up with the Bare Roots as well. Thank you all. Christina, let's cut you into the agenda here if you have any other updates before you go.
I don't really. I do have
Okay.
some thoughts on the CEC stuff that Don sent around, but I can share those with him in an email. We don't get to it before I have to go.
Okay, thanks. Thanks
I
for joining.
I wanted to talk about that a little bit. I don't think it's on the agenda, the CEC program, but you know, wherever we want to plug that in, Dave, Christina.
The CEC, kind of I think it's number 7, but let's go there. We can go there now. That's fine.
Yeah, well, I did notice because Christina, there were a couple of new actions that Christina, we may be tapping into her expertise there. But yeah, they did send out a list, looking for some comments on the changes to the CEC program. I went through it, compared it with all the past program high impact actions and grant things, and I have made a few comments and found a few things that look good and a few things that I have some concerns about. Mainly first of all, the number of designation grants, they're kind of regressing there from the last round 3 set of the designation grants available. It's going to be fewer and more limited in the grant amounts that you can apply for, and I don't know how that's going to affect some of the smaller communities. I just don't know. There's limited of 5 grants per region for small communities, three grants per region for medium, and 2 for large. It's kind of hard to know how that's going to affect us because I think most of our large communities are already designated in the CEC program. Limiting it to 5, just 5 in the small communities. I don't know. That seems kind of small. So I did ask for some info from Tara. She will be on. She is actually talking to the folks at CEC right now, so she won't be able to. She said she would probably be able to hop on here at 11 o'clock. So I hope that she'll be able to come in and give us a little more information on that. But there are some additional high impact actions like training for battery storage, energy efficiency upgrades. In the past, community had to show at least a 10% decrease in GHG emissions in order to qualify for points for that. Now they kind of lowered the bar. Now you only have to lower emissions by 2 and 5 and 10% to gain some points under that action. They're lowering the clean heating and cooling demonstration. We're installing heat pumps in buildings. The heat pumps only have to supply 50% of the total load of the building as opposed to 75% previously. There's good and bad there because it'll easier to attain those points, but we're not, a lower bar doesn't always mean better for the climate. They have added. I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong page here. Proposals. So, proposal training for battery storage, clean energy advice. They have done away with. It appears that and this is all not written in stone, of course, but I think it's pretty close because they're going to roll this out in the next couple of months. So they have done away with gaining points for becoming a bronze or silver certified community, but they've added in a clean energy advisory task force. So I'm assuming if a community just says, well, our CSC task force is going to work as our clean energy advisory task force, then they will qualify for those kinds of points for doing that. So we may be able to gain smaller towns that are just getting started might find it easier to gain some points just by joining the program rather than trying to actually go for bronze certification.
Don, what's the status of these changes? These are up in proposal stage?
Yes, they are. But again, I mean, my gut feeling is they're gonna implement these in the next couple of months. So it's probably pretty close to being final. They are taking some comments on these. One of them that I was a little concerned about was the electric landscaping equipment requirement. For a small community, you have to buy enough equipment to lower GHG emissions by 5 metric tons equivalent. And I know when the county bought 42 pieces of electric landscaping equipment, we lowered ours by 6.5 tons. I did doing the math in the worksheet. So, and I know the town of Stockport probably does not have 42 pieces of electric landscaping equipment. They might have a dozen at most. Well, that's something I mentioned to Tara. So there are some things in here that I have some concerns about.
That's great. Thank you for engaging and getting into the nitty gritty of it. I mean, as a practitioner in this space, you really understand the details and what.
If Christina wants to jump in with her, there are a couple there that really pertain to her. If you want to speak to those, Christina, I'll let you have it. Go at it.
Wear my Germantown hat first and say I think the outline of leaf blowers would not go over well in most of our areas. But for the Clean Energy Hub, there's two that say to work with the Clean Energy Hub, and obviously I love working with you guys. But there were a few that I think could be improved. One, if they continue doing a clean heating and cooling campaign, as you guys may remember, when we engaged in that a few years ago, it was a clean heating and cooling and energy efficiency campaign. And then halfway through our outreach, they took the energy efficiency away. And I'd really advocate for that coming back, not only because it's just better building science to get a heat pump system that is appropriately sized for a nice tight house that's going to save energy, it's going to save your bills, and it's just better for the equipment, but also because actually New York Clean Heat, the main market rate incentive program, will be requiring building envelope work come September. So I think that having something integrated in there where people are participating in either Empower or the Comfort Home program, so there's like a really easy metric. It's not like you can just say, yeah, I replaced 4 light bulbs, I'm energy efficient now, but you have a program and a good metric. I think that would be really integral to adding in there. I also have some concerns around the rental property campaign for Empower. I think, renters and landlords are an underserved population for that program, but in large part because of systemic issues, not outreach issues. So I feel like ramping up the towns to get out the word about a program that really doesn't always fit well because of the state of the housing stock needing, roof or structural repairs or having mold or asbestos, things that you don't want to tighten up the building envelope with those kinds of health hazards. That's what we run into a lot with stopping rental property projects. So I think that would have to be done with a lot of nuance. And I also think the idea of doing a rental registry is a little bit redundant because most rental properties should already be registered with the state. Yeah, I think those are my main thoughts.
This is great. We've got our CEC policy wonks that are out there advocating for smart changes. Thank you guys for engaging like that. It's helpful for all of us. I assume once these are adopted, then we'll get into the details of how we can take advantage of the new rules and the new programs for each town and for the county.
I also wanted to add, I believe anyone who's doing CAC or CSC can comment. There's a link on the document that Don sent around to a form. And if you guys have thoughts yourselves, share them with them.
Thanks. And also pass it along and remind the other folks in your towns who may be more maybe you have people who are more engaged in that work in your town. Alexandra.
Yes, hi, I'm sorry, I didn't see the link. But I just have a minor comment, maybe for the LED street lights recommendations, they can roll in there that they should go for warmer light spectrums to minimize disruption of migrating birds, bird strikes and all that. So anyway, that's all I had to say.
It's a good one. Okay. Thanks, Christina. All right. We have the countywide climate meeting has been out there for a few months now as a concept. We don't have, we haven't made any specific progress on it in terms of what and where. I did reach out to Basilica, didn't get like a clear response on, there was interest in potentially hosting, but we haven't gotten any further. I have a request, which is, does anyone here, or do we think we know of someone who would like to take the lead on this? We kind of need a point person to be the taskmaster and the person to say, I want to help organize this event. The last time, what was the last time we did it, Don? Or anyone? We did something virtually during COVID. We did something in person at Basilica. I can't remember when those were.
It was before my time, so at least 3 years ago.
That was it. Yeah, that was the Basilica event was at least 2 years ago.
Yeah, I remember, I think Steve presented there. That was a good event. We obviously want to do this in person. Tistria was instrumental in organizing the event. Well, probably both events, but definitely the one online. And there were other people as well. I think Betsy, maybe, I don't remember, but we do, I'm going to ask you to just put your hands down. I know everyone's just chomping at the bit here to take the lead, but you got to calm down. We do need someone to, to step up. So whether it's someone from this group or someone from the outside, start talking it up. I think we're all excited about this concept. And I know all of us are volunteers here and are limited, very limited in the time that we can spend on these types of things. But if you like organizing events, this is an important one. At the end of the day, I don't think it'll be that much work finding the venue. We have a couple options, and certainly a lot of us will help with that. Putting together an agenda, we can put a draft together and then share it during one of these meetings and go through that and hash through it a bit to get feedback, getting any kind of speakers, and then getting some sort of sponsorship and budget for food and refreshments and whatnot. Again, I think that won't be hard to ask the usual suspects to contribute and sponsor. Maybe there's some county funding, I don't know, and we don't need a lot of it to get people refreshed. And then, it's organizing the logistics of the day. So it's not without work, but it's kind of manageable. So let me know if you're interested or if you have any ideas on that. So that's all I have on that. Anything else?
When would that have to be, Dave? Do we have an idea?
We don't know. I mean, that's, I think a good time for these types of things is like October or early November usually, because it's kind of, I don't know how relevant it is to y'all, but school's back solidly. The summer is over, things outside are starting to come inside, but we're not yet in the holiday season. So people are around, generally around. Jennifer?
I have no bandwidth right now till the end of the semester, but I'm retiring at the end of the semester, and I'd be very happy to be involved on the planning side, but I probably can't take the lead since I just can't do it until like June. So if there's any way I can be helpful after that, I'd really like to be involved. But
great, absolutely. Congratulations. That's exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. Thank you.
Well, thanks for that. That's great. Jennifer's part of the crew. Anyone else that wants to participate? Don?
Yeah, I obviously coordinator. I helped with the Planet Carnivals in the past, so I can help coordinate whoever else wants to join in. But I think we should probably run this past county government and see if what kind of requirements they would have. It would not be the same thing as a climate carnival where we would have to get vendors on, but there still might be a need for some kind of approval from the board for them to buy into it and give us the okay to proceed with it, whatever. So I'll look into those requirements.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Don. All right, I think we're almost through here, folks. Thanks for hanging in there. The last thing I think on the agenda, then some updates around the horn. The Climate Smart Progress Report done. That's completed and it's been submitted.
Yes, and was Kara sent me a draft newsletter. I honestly don't know what that needs. Again, I don't know how that needs to be approved. I think the person that Patrice is the contact person for EMC, so she would be the one to let you know exactly what has to be done with it. I don't know if it has to go through the same committee approval as the progress report did.
Yeah.
I don't think it has to, but I'm not the one that can say yes or no, to be honest with you, Kara.
Okay. Yeah. I just wanted so just to give everyone a heads up, Don created that amazing report based on all the information that you all provided from your towns. I worked on it with another EMC member, Bob Brush, and we created what we're hoping is a newsletter like format that's a lot shorter and hopefully very succinctly summarizes each town's report with an intro. When we met with the EMC to go over the newsletter, there was a lot of question about whether it does need approval. And I had hoped that we wouldn't need to go through that process just because everything in there is based on the data in Don's report. And if that gets approved, then the newsletter is just like a newsletter summary of it. But there was some pushback to say we don't want to get in any trouble if we don't get some sort of approval. So that's why I raised that question to you, Don, and I didn't want to put you on the spot about anything. I'm happy to share it with Patrice Perry. The one thing I wanted to mention, people didn't send in a lot of photographs, and I do have photographs for about four towns, I think maybe 3. So if you guys want to send me, and just if you could just send me 1 or 2 key photos. I don't want more than that because I'm going to have to finish it up this weekend. And then I just want to drop them into each town's. Like what I've got a couple photographs of Copac planting trees, and then a nice cute little photograph along the walkway where we did native plantings. Another town sent me pictures of their little booths at a climate event, and then also the solar panels on their highway department that they put in. Something like that kind of gives it a little bit more interest as opposed to just a bunch of text on a page. I am not good with digital design, but I figured at least if we have photographs in there, we could do it. So if you could just send me, I've gotten photos from Gallatin, Copac, Chatham, and I think that might be it. I might be getting one from Canaan. So if you can just send, and please do it only in JPEG format. Just a quick thing. Don't stress out if you don't get it. Don't stress out if you just send me one. I'm just thinking it'd be a nice way to pop the newsletter out a little bit. And then what I'll do, Don, I'll just get that and I'll contact Patrice and see if maybe they can put it on the agenda for the March 11th meeting. It's short notice, but it took a while to herd the cats to get this one written.
Great. Thank you, Kara.
Sure.
Alexandra?
I just wanted your contact info. If
sure. Let me put it
in the chat or whatever.
Yeah,
Right. I can send you some from Hudson.
Sure. Let me put it in the,
Betsy, did you have something?
There we go. Put it in the chat, by the way, so everybody just take a look at it and see. If not, Don, if anybody reaches out to you, you can give my email address. That's fine. And if you give the Google one, that's fine too. I don't care.
Thanks, Kara.
Thank you.
Okay. I think we're set. Thanks for putting that together, the newsletter. That's great.
We'll see.
Well, it's something, you know, something to build on, and it's a step, and it's
Yeah.
communicating and getting the
Oh,
EMC.
sorry. Can I just say one more thing about it too? When it's done, just how we're going to publicize it, we can't do paper mailings. It doesn't make any sense. So what we're going to do is ask each town to see if they will post it on their town's either website or their town newsletter or their CAC/CSC newsletter. And then I assume, Don, we could also post it. Well, I don't know how we'll post it on EMC because nobody goes to the EMC website, but at least people go to the County Climate Smart website, so we can post it there. If you have, when it's ready, we'll send it out, and then you can do whatever you need to do at your end to post it, which would be great. I may also, anyway, so that's all. Sorry.
Okay, great. Thanks, Kara. Jennifer.
This is update. Are we to individual updates yet?
We are almost there. We're going to start with CLC. We'll go through the organizational updates, see
Okay.
if there's anything, and then we'll definitely get to you. Terrence, you still on? Any other updates from CLC? I know you're always busy.
We are very busy coming up in the next couple of months. I would encourage anyone who's around a week from Saturday, please come to our pancake breakfast. It's at the Hudson City School District. It's just a free event. We try to bring people together to talk about these things and others around conservation and Columbia County. Betsy may be planning to say this, but we are preparing for the big Takana Community Forest opening this spring as well. So that's going to be at the end of May this year.
That's very exciting. Very exciting. Big things coming. Thanks, Terrence. We heard from Christina. Anything from Cornell Cooperative?
Hi, yes.
Oh, hi. Hi,
Hey.
Lindsay.
Hi, everybody. We have a few events. We have our Maple Fest this Sunday from 10 to 1 at the ACRA office. So we'll be doing that. We also have a pancake breakfast that will be selling, I can't remember how much off the top of my head, but it's really low cost. We'll have a lot of different vendors, sap tasting, tree tapping demonstration, and we'll have our Sugar Shack open and running. And then we also have a spring gardening day on March 28th at the Hudson High School. It's $45, but there's 15 different class offerings, and everybody will get, to be able to go to 4 classes. There's also a keynote speaker at that one as well. And then just to kind of piggyback on the tree planting, it is in Greene County that we're doing it, but for the Earth Day week, we are, let me just pull up the date real fast. It's going to be April 22nd, looks like at 4:30 over here at the Sayusla Model Forest. We're going to do a riparian buffer planting, to be specific.
Great.
And yeah, and just a quick hello to Neil if you're still on here. If anybody didn't make the connection, Neil, we work with Neil under the Hudson River Estuary Program, doing all those programs. And once we get all the signatures complete, happy to announce what we're doing this year.
Great. Thank you, Lindsay. That's good. Don, your hand went up, hand went down.
Oh, well, that was by accident, but I did want to note that Tara is on now. So whenever we want to.
Okay.
Yes.
Kara, do you have anything related to this?
Yeah, could you send us details, like a link to the program, so we can share them with our towns? Lindsay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Great. Okay. We heard from Dylan. Dylan, I don't know if you're still on, if there's anything else from Soil and Water worth noting.
I will note we're waiting, eagerly waiting to hear back about a cover crop grant we submitted last fall that would cover funding for 5,000 acres of cover crops in Columbia County over a 4-year period. This is for our larger producers that are, doing growing a lot of field crops, and the grant is specifically to help these producers shift. Many producers are already cover cropping and utilizing a single species cover crop to reduce erosion, build soil health. This would help them enhance that cover crop to a multi-species mix, which has additional soil health, nitrogen fixing, nitrogen retention benefits. So we're hoping to hear about that grant any day now. And we do have a local cover crop program as well to target our smaller producers, and that announcement will be out soon.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and then there's a grant this spring that we're preparing for, an agricultural non-point pollution and control grant to help farms kind of reduce runoff getting into streams and rivers. And those kinds of farms tend to be livestock producers. So
Cool.
yeah, those are our updates.
Sounds good. Thanks, Dylan. And now we're off to other updates. Jennifer?
Sure. I just, I'm teaching my climate and agroecology course again this spring, and I have designed a project that's related to Columbia County. If just to remind everyone, last year my students did a greenhouse gas inventory for the crop portion of the ag sector using a process model, and our report is still in draft form. We kind of left it hanging, and now that the Regional Planning Commission has finalized their inventory for the county, and that includes an ag sector emissions portion. What we're going to do this spring is the model that they used for their ag emissions is kind of a spreadsheet model that the EPA has designed, and it tends to focus on and does a pretty good job on livestock, and our model does a very good job on the crop side. So what the students are going to do is try to sort of reproduce using the EPA model the crop or the livestock component, and then add that to a little addendum at the end of our report from last year saying that, because we didn't model livestock with the process model, it's much more complicated to do that. And so we'll just add a couple of page addendum that explains to the user like what the difference is between these models, and then comes up with sort of a total estimate and compare it to then their total estimate, which I'm sure it'll be different because their crop approach is totally different from what we did. So we'll be hopefully finalizing that in May for you guys.
Hey, well, that's good timing, and that more information for us to look at and bring into the county CAP process with a consultant, as we've kind of thought about all along. So thanks for the update. Thanks for continuing to work on that. Someday we will all be working on the county CAP. Hopefully we'll all still be here, but someday soon. Any other updates? Anything else around the horn? All right. Betsy, talk to us. You're muted.
Sorry. One little housekeeping thing. We do these Taconic talks, and we unfortunately scheduled one of our events, and it conflicted with a neighboring community's event, and they ended up canceling, and it was kind of it was a bummer, right? You go to a lot of trouble to put these things together. So I sent all of our upcoming Taconic talk events to Don and asked him to put them on the county calendar, and in hopes that folks will look at that and see what other people are doing. We have to start paying more attention to what's happening in the communities around us. So I was just going to suggest, if anybody else maybe doesn't utilize that calendar, maybe they could start, or if there's some, it's like the perfect place, right, for us to all be putting our events on, and people could look at it before we start booking another event, so that we don't conflict and then force people to choose which of these really cool events they want to go to. So that was one thing. And I just wanted to circle back to what Terrence touched on briefly. So the CLC is kicking off their volunteer season, if you will, on May 2nd. And they have graciously again decided to focus their attentions on the Taconic Community Forest, which is when we did the big tree planting last year. So on May 2nd, we're going to be doing cool things at the forest. But again, that's a great day to mark that off in your calendars and plan on attending and joining us. We're going to be putting some promotional material out, but we've got all kinds of cool things spinning around for us to do. And then the actual date of the community forest opening is June 6th. And we are also planning all kinds of cool activities there. One of which is a bio blitz, which is something new to me, but I suspect many of you are well versed in what that is. And we've got a lot of cool things happening. We've got a great bunch of people on our committee already who are going to be leading, botany things. Will Yandick is going to do a bird walk. But if anybody else wants to participate in the BioBlitz thing, or maybe knows somebody that might be interested in coming and partaking in that, or has some cool thing that they would maybe want to present at the event to make it a really exciting opening day event, let me know. And we'd love to see if we can figure something out.
Hey, Betsy, do we want to see if anybody knows a good specialist in, what was it, reptiles? And what was the other one that we were thinking of?
Well, let's see.
Because we have idea. If anybody has a reptile or animal expert for a forest, let us know. Let Betsy know. Was that what it was? I think.
Well, like any kind of BioBlitz thing, it could be birds, it could be amphibians, I don't know, a beaver specialist. How cool would that be?
Do they have to bring a beaver, or they have to find one?
Well, no, we have beavers on the property, but I don't know. You know me, I love the whole beaver thing. So, anything, trees, plants, invasive species, everything, all the stuff that we're, looking at and thinking about and trying to address in one way or another.
Yeah, great. Put that on the calendar. June 6th. It's going to be a party over the Taconic Forest.
Yeah, it is.
A bio party.
It is.
Lindsay, I think you're next.
Yeah, Betsy, I just wanted to mention, so Rebecca Pinder is a professor over at Columbia Green Community College, and she does a lot of research with salamanders. We do a lot of monitoring over here at our forest and the other model forests, and I think she would be a great person to have out there.
And is that PI? Is that PI?
Go ahead.
PINDER?
Correct. Yes.
Nobody heard that, did they? Good. Thanks. Thanks, Lindsay. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Alexandra.
Yes, Leela Phillip would be a great person to ask. I can contact her if you want. She has a full plate oftentimes. She wrote Beaverland. I don't know if you're familiar with the book, but she grew up in Claverick, among other places. So she would probably be a great person to invite.
Nice.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Hi, Tara. Oh, sorry. Did you have something else, Betsy, on that?
No, I just said awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. It's great. More beavers. Tara, hi.
Everybody, how's it going? I think you might have already talked about this. I'm a little late to the meeting, but NYSERDA did send out a survey, or RFI, for the new CEC program. So please respond if you can. And we're excited that they're going to be announcing more money and another program in the coming months. So just let me know if you've got any questions on that. And that should be pretty cool. The other thing, I just sent out an email. We have a webinar series coming up at CDRPC for climate action. So it's related to our regional climate action plan, which of course includes Columbia County. And we're just kind of hosting speakers on a number of topics every month, the first Wednesday of the month at noon. So just take a look at that. Our first up next month is going to be transit-oriented development. So that may or may not be interesting to your rural communities, but there are some more that are coming down the line that I think are of interest. And then last but not least at all, those of you that know Haley, she had her baby last night. So she has a little girl now. Her name's Eden. So yay. I know there's some folks on here that work closely with Haley. So, and then I'm taking over, obviously, support of all of the communities Haley's been working with for the next few weeks, for the next 12 or so weeks until she comes back from maternity leave. So, but we've all been connected, and look forward to working with you all.
Thanks, Tara, for everything you guys do. Appreciate it.
You said the baby's Eden?
Eden is her name. Yes.
Nice, nice. That's great news.
Yes.
Don, what do you have for us? You're muted.
Just wanted to thank Tara for signing on here. We did have some discussion earlier about the CEC program, and we had some concerns, some questions. I think one of them was, well, how firm is this in place? I mean, is there really are they open to many changes in this? Because there were some concerns about some of the actions that they've added and changed in this proposal. But I mean, it looks like it's going to be implemented in the next couple of months. So my thought is it may be a little more firmly implemented than, I don't know how open they are to making changes to what they've put out. So.
Great question, Don. No, honestly, and it's hard to gauge how NYSERDA is going to take the responses and kind of, change the pond based on that. But I do feel like if there are some strong responses around specific things that they will take note. I mean, they want this program to be successful and they want the money to move. So if they're feeling like communities can't do it and it's going to be too challenging, then they're going to have to listen to those concerns. So do please feel free to write strongly worded, feedback on this because we want them to hear you.
Yeah, because I mean, one of my concerns was it's getting the designation grants seem to be, there's limited number of them available per region. There's only 5 available to small communities, which seems to be a really small amount. I mean, in the past there were a lot more available, and the $25,000 grant is like, that's just a one-time thing. It's like, well, there used to be like stepping stones. We could kind of gradually work our way into it, whereas I just don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah, and I will note too that the way that the funding is coming from a new funding source this time. It used to come from the Clean Energy Fund, which was kind of a program that was a little bit more flexible, but would dump the money in kind of all at once. Whereas now it's coming from RGGI, if you're familiar with that, the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, where so basically the funding is coming every year. So this is this year's funding, and for the next 5 years, we anticipate the similar grant funding. So if you don't get one this year, there will be more next year. I don't know the exact timelines for announcing how that'll be kind of played out, but there is more money. It's just going to be kind of trickling.
Yeah, and it doesn't say, there's no mention of grants for actual actions beyond the designation. I mean, are they going to expand grants for the actions themselves? Whereas in the past, it was really just community campaigns were one of the few actions you could actually get grants for doing an action.
Yep. They are going to continue with they are going to continue with those action grants. It's just they haven't figured out which actions they're going to incentivize. And for those that don't know that, that's basically like you do one action and you get money, as opposed to doing a number of actions with different points to get to a threshold. So it just they're working on that. So I think that's why that wasn't in the RFI.
Okay. Yeah.
Great question.
If that happens, that'll alleviate a lot of my concern, I think, Tara, just so you know.
Yep.
Okay. I think that's it. Spring is around the corner. Get ready, buckle up, get outside. A lot of things happening, a lot of meetings, a lot of gatherings, a lot of plantings, screenings. So looking forward to that. And until the next time, we have a bunch of follow-ups here we'll be doing by email. Hope everyone has a good start to the month of March.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.